Ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Masters of Marketing. In this episode, I have with me Caroline Bertrand. She's the Chief HR and Marketing Officer of GIG, previously AXA Insurance. We'll be discussing in this episode what is the best marketing channel for such a business, how to decrease churn rate, how to increase the customer lifetime value, if PR and influencer marketing make sense for such a business, and much, much more. Tune in and enjoy the show. So Caroline, welcome to Masters of Marketing.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. So who is Caroline?
Caroline is a marketing professional originally from Belgium that has worked for 20 years in an insurance company. Most people know the company, it's AXA. I traveled across a few countries. So I started in Belgium. I worked in the head office in Paris for a few years, where I learned the importance of building a strong brand. After that, I was a CMO of AXA in Mexico for 5 years. Super fascinating experience, as you can imagine. And I landed in Dubai 4 years ago. I'm currently in charge of marketing, digital, customer experience, branding, and since 6 months, I'm also in charge of human resources, which is a super interesting and complementary challenge.
Yeah, I love that. It's the first time I was looking at your profile and I was like, marketing and HR.
Yeah.
Beautiful mix.
Yeah.
How's that going for you?
So it's a lot of people ask it. When I took on the position, the first reaction of everyone was, what?
Yeah.
And then on second thought, people were like, yeah, maybe it does make sense. If I look at the similarities, I would say, first of all, the way that you're engaging your employees is very similar to the way that you're engaging your customers, acquiring employees, keeping them engaged and developing them. So that's the first parallel. So I use a lot of my marketing mechanisms when you think about the employer branding bit and really building trust and engagement with the employees. And then you have the whole part related to customer experience. Only happy employees, engaged employees will be able to deliver a good customer experience. And I have kind of both levers now under my responsibility, so that creates quite some opportunities as well.
Makes sense.
So it does make sense.
Yeah,
eventually.
it makes a lot of sense. And HR is going to help you become a better leader, better manager as well, like
absolutely.
with the skills that you're going to learn, because you're not going to now involve only with your marketing division, but now as a whole, like how do I help everybody in the company and how do I make sure that everybody's okay?
And I really underestimated the power of HR. I think it's probably the least popular department in many companies, but actually it's so critical. And on a day-to-day basis, I see the difference that we can make and the mistakes that we can make as well. But I focus on the positive impact that we can have.
Awesome. Good. So GIG acquired AXA recently.
Yeah.
How is, what would you say, what are the benefits and downsides of such an acquisition from a marketing and branding standpoint?
Yeah, so AXA was acquired in the Middle East by GIG, Gulf Insurance Group, which is a big regional organization, the biggest regional insurance company in the GCC. We were acquired around 2.5 years ago. When talks started about us losing the AXA brand, I think everyone was traumatized because AXA is such a strong brand and has invested worldwide massively on building that brand, has such high equity anywhere you go, especially in a market like UAE, where you have so many expats. So everyone has some kind of reference from where they lived in the world. So we were relatively worried about, how are we going to manage that transition from an iconic global brand to a regional, relatively unknown brand that does not necessarily have in its strategy to invest heavily on building that brand, right? So the first thing we did was create a new logo, a new brand identity. So this took us about 6 months. We worked together with the head office because we felt that as they were acquiring a company like ours, it was an amazing opportunity to kind of elevate what they were doing and kind of leverage also the know-how and the experience that we had as AXA to build a brand. The focus that we had is how can we position GIG as a reference in this market and really focus on the local expertise, the closeness and understanding of the local customers versus a global brand that is steered from somewhere in the world, but that does not necessarily have this affinity with the local markets. And that's something that we are pushing for, and that is kind of the opportunity that we saw. So the way we position the transition from the global player to the local player is getting best of both worlds. So we kind of took that expertise that we have as a global player, as an international company that's very strong on its technical excellence, its compliance, and at the same time leveraging that kind of new regional company that allows us to, for example, build regional value propositions. So it kind of positions us very strongly in these markets. And if you look at the trends that we're seeing, globalization is kind of evolving. So we're much more back to a scheme where local companies, regional companies are growing, and the global ones are kind of choosing their markets. And AXA, for example, choose not to be present in the Middle East. And they're gradually just kind of looking at where are for them the growth markets. And we had the chance to find an acquirer that actually had a very strong ambition, specifically in the Middle East.
Makes sense. And what are the challenges now for you as a marketing head to retain clients and to acquire new clients based on what you just said? AXA, known, there's a trust factor. If I see AXA, I'll immediately buy. If I see GIG, I don't know it. Most people don't. What are the challenges, and how are you going about addressing those?
So, first of all, we would never have expected it to go as smoothly as it did.
Really?
And honestly, I can assure you that, especially for the retail part, we were extremely worried.
From because acquisition part or from retention part?
Both, of course. Because how do you sell to a loyal AXA customer that all of a sudden there is this completely unknown brand that is now claiming that they will provide the same? So a lot of work was done. I think we started almost 12 months before the actual brand switch to communicate directly with all of our customers, emailers. Actually, we looked at each and every touch point that a customer would have with us: call center, emailers, SMS, website. Everywhere we knew that our customers would engage with us, our healthcare application, we started to inject messages that AXA is soon becoming GIG. We had by then that beautiful new brand that was, I wouldn't say it's similar to the AXA brand. It has nothing to do, but the message was only 3 letters change from AXA to GIG.
That's the messaging.
And that was the messaging, and we just hammered that for almost 12 months, so that I want to say that by the end, when we then actually switched to the new brand, there was no surprises. And this is what I wanted to avoid. I wanted to avoid that a customer would receive a renewal notice with a completely unknown brand. I'm an AXA customer. What is this? And that's really what we managed. So first 12 months, giving everyone a heads up, guys, this is coming. But don't worry, because fundamentally, except for the 3 letters, nothing changes. What we then did is in one shot, on one day, we changed everything. So we went from AXA to GIG, website, collateral,
social
call
media pages,
center,
names.
social media, everything. So this happened on one day, so that there would not be that kind of ambiguity in the middle. For about 9 months, we used AXA. We used GIG, previously AXA. So that was kind of the transition logo that we used, so that there would still be that kind of reminder. And as I said, this worked out well. When you look at our, let's say, the retail portfolio, so our direct customers, retention rates are exactly at the same level.
Wow.
Complaints, I think we must have had potentially 10 comments related to in AXA times it was better. 10 out of the thousands of customers that we have is nothing. If you look at our acquisition, I think, and that was your question as well, acquisition was tough, simply because you don't have equity. You lose all your organic traffic because you build a new website. You're still getting your traffic to your original domain name. How do you then kind of start to create that brand identity or that traffic towards your new website? So of course, you have mechanisms of redirecting, but there was a very big drop in our organic traffic, which is what you would naturally get. So that's where you then have to kind of make up for it by investing more in your customer acquisition. So I think that was probably where we had the biggest hit. But again, looking at it, I think we had a team of 5 people focused and obsessed on a day-to-day basis, looking at the numbers, looking at how traffic was evolving, how traffic from the AXA website was being redirected. Interesting is that so people that would still land on the AXA website organically, they would get a pop-up, click-through. We had click-through rates of 80%, which I think is quite impressive. And then they click through to the new website, which was a completely GIG branded website. And then they would there kind of go through everything as they would have on the AXA side, because we just use a new brand, but all of our funnels, all of the digital assets that we had, it was completely replicated.
Right. And do you have it on top of mind, the conversion rate drop from conversion rate from users to sale, from AXA to GIG?
Didn't change.
Really?
The only thing that dropped was our capacity to attract people to get into the funnel.
So traffic was the challenge,
Traffic was a challenge.
Not conversion rate.
Funnel itself didn't change.
Amazing.
Why? Because it's a super simple funnel, that we invest a lot and we put a lot of effort in our digital development. So we have super fast, like 1-2 minute funnels. So once you've decided you want to get a quote, fundamentally it doesn't really change.
Okay.
So I think with all the pre-work that we did, we were really able to kind of maintain that level of trust that people would have. So once you were convinced that, I will go and try, conversion didn't change.
And you changed. So you showed the world 12 months before the day came that we are rebranding. And did you put any extra money into advertising and marketing? So did you put, let's say, billboards outdoor? Did you put new ads that we're rebranding, or just the regular channels that you use with the same budget?
So obviously we had a transition budget that was dedicated. Obviously not at the level where it would be in the ideal world, because as you know, we're in 4 markets. If it would have been UAE only manageable, or in UAE, Oman, Qatar, Bahrain, and each market is very particular, and the media mix and the way of media consumption is very different from one country to another. So here, the strategy is on the same day that we changed everything, we went live with an above-the-line campaign. So we did do out-of-home. AXA is now GIG. Very simple. Only 3 new letters.
Yeah, I remember. I saw it, actually.
Yeah. At least one banner
was it
on Sheikh
Zayed? Yeah.
And then we had one on the way to the airport, but it's not well positioned. So there is kind of something in hiding the GIG. So we still have that banner up, because I don't think it's good media space, but it's been there for a year, and it's AXA is now, and then you kind of have to check to see what it is, and it's GIG. So we still have that banner. So we had out-of-home, we had radio. We worked also with some of our partners. So we have bank insurance partnerships. We did a campaign with Insurance Market. We had Albert from Insurance Market endorsing us. So we tried to kind of create momentum, all in that same kind of time, obviously continuing to communicate heavily with our own customers, and a lot of social, digital, and so on. So we would have. Yeah, we had this one moment in the year where we kind of put all assets out there on the day that we went live with our new identity.
Good that it worked.
It really worked. I think
because I remember you when we spoke a few years before.
I was panicked.
And especially that not a lot of people, there are only very, very few people probably in the world that has managed such an acquisition or such a transition from Because usually it's the other way around.
Yeah, exactly.
Now it's like a big
You
international brand.
become Uber or you
Right.
become Amazon, and we were becoming GIG.
It's unbelievable.
So we tried to make GIG
Yeah.
as sexy as we could.
Yeah.
And I
And
think,
it looks beautiful. I love
looks-
it.
Yeah, yeah.
So congratulations. I mean, congratulations to that experience that you experienced.
Absolutely.
It's amazing,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
I joined AXA Gulf in August 4 years ago, and 2 months later, I found out that we were going to be acquired. And I thought to myself, this can be the most fascinating experience of my life, or the biggest drama, right?
Yeah.
So, but I think because our partner GIG was so open also to us kind of building something with them together, I think that really made it a success as well. It was a friendly acquisition, and in that friendly acquisition, you have much more opportunity to build something together that makes sense for everyone. So with the acquisition and the rebranding that we did with the GIG brand, all of the other markets did the same. In 3 months' time after we went live, all of the other markets, so 13 markets in total, were rebranded. Because there was that kind of energy around, wow, that new brand, that new identity, which was very fresh, still, regionally and locally relevant, but with that touch of modern kind of fresh new brand. So,
Love it. And it's interesting, actually, that something else now that you mentioned, Albert, and I was like, yeah, I know Albert.
It's Alfred.
Alfred, right.
Alfred from Insurance Market, yeah.
It's very interesting that he became like a brand and like when we think, like when you say Insurance Market, I think of that...
that old little guy, right?
That old little guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
A mascot.
It's the mascot, and
Wow.
they did, Insurance Market have done a brilliant branding job.
Yeah.
They've been around for quite some time, but the way they kind of set up their media mix, they have very strong partnerships with a few radio stations, with with a few media outlets that allows them to be there throughout the whole year. So you cannot miss it.
And it's great. Like I saw like the Bridge banner last time. They have like, I don't know, about 100,000 reviews, 5-star reviews or something. Like they have like a crazy number,
because
right?
their strategy was focused on that. They were like, okay, we have to build that brand. And at the same time, we know that referrals are critical, referrals and customer reviews. So every policy they sell, they follow up with their customer. Hey, how was your experience? Rate us. So that's their strategy. Whereas other companies, they only get bad ratings because only unsatisfied customers will kind of go and complain. So they kind of switched
Love
that.
it.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good strategy.
Yeah.
Because I think they're the only one. And I remember we talked about this before. Like it's amazing how they've done it.
Yeah.
What is the best brand marketing channel for GIG?
Yeah. So again, we had to kind of, when you have to build a brand, a new brand in the market, I'm still convinced that above the line works best. So you're out of home, your radio, and kind of continuously repeating the message because you know attention span, you know how full our lives are. So you need this almost kind of unconscious repetition, visual kind of repetition, and then kind of with time it sinks in. So above the line for, let's say, pure awareness purposes, for me is still the way to go, but then obviously complemented with digital, social media, PR. I think we also, in times of tight budgets, you need to be creative in finding how you can just kind of build good content and get entities or companies or outlets speaking about you, which of course is a challenge because how do you make insurance interesting? That still is something that we struggle with, but it's about finding these opportunities where you can build relevant content so that people somehow also get attracted to your brand.
Right. And you currently invest in outdoor other than that Bridge banner?
Currently, no.
Okay. Because of the price, or why not?
So if you look at most insurance companies in this market, because we are a multi-liner. So we have a portion of our business is retail, which is where you need your brand, because this is a B2C, business to consumer kind of strategy. So people would want to buy you because they know you or because they trust you. The biggest chunk of our business is B2B. So we still sell all of our healthcare business is sold through brokers, right? Because this is employee benefits packages that we are selling to big companies, and these are brokered. So a lot of our business is intermediated. So there's a big strategy that we also did on managing these other stakeholders, so our bank insurance partners, our brokers, and how do we get them along on the journey to want to sell the GIG brand. And that is something that, is more kind of, again, PR events, creating this kind of connection on a day-to-day basis with our partners. But it's the biggest chunk of our business and our revenues, right? So if you then have to make decisions in terms of where am I going to put my money, for a broker, it doesn't really matter that you're investing, money on your brand, because the broker has a relationship with their customers. And if the broker says, this is your company, this is your brand, trust them, customers will trust. So the mix between how much do I need to invest on my brand versus how much do I kind of need to manage my partners, that's always a bit of a challenge, right?
Yeah.
So when I'm having conversations with my business peers, they will tell me, okay, if you're going to invest 2 more million in the brand, how much is that going to get me, right?
Of course.
And as you know, okay, having billboards out there is amazing to kind of start to create that recollection. It doesn't necessarily drive preference. So I cannot necessarily prove how my millions of marketing dollars are going to eventually convert for them. So that's a difficult conversation, obviously, that every year we need to manage. But because of the kind of the business mix that we have, also a lot of the budget goes to how do we delight our brokers, our partners, how do we get them engaged to work with us. Right. So that's also a big chunk of the work that we're doing as a marketing department of an insurance company. It's not our e-commerce bit, if you want, is what, 10%? So
makes sense.
That's where you have to balance.
And you do social media. I know that you do social. So your brand, so that's part of your brand marketing strategy.
Of course, this is kind of our bread and butter. Yeah. But that's mainly performance focused, right?
So ads, not necessarily social content on a regular basis with a bit of boosting.
We do that. But not each channel is as successful. I would say, again, from a B2B perspective and employer branding perspective, LinkedIn is by far the best, especially because this is such a small market. So if you have a very strong presence and good content on LinkedIn, that really helps you to be a preferred employer, to kind of position yourself, again, with your brokers. Competitors are watching, what are you doing, copying what you're doing, and so on. Then when it comes to end customer, social, but social media is not efficient, right? Even when you boost your post, you might get more followers, but you're not necessarily selling. And obviously we have to be super pragmatic of where we put our money. So a lot of what we do is focused on performance, getting people to our funnels or getting people to the call center. You know this, Bassem.
Well, no, I didn't.
Well, we're trying at least. So that's kind of now.
We haven't spoken for a couple of years.
We haven't, it's true. We've evolved a little bit since.
So you're focusing mainly on the bottom of the funnel, where performance, because Google ads, social ads, and not necessarily creating a lot of content on social and just putting it without your UTM trackers. So you're not doing a lot of brand marketing. You're doing mainly direct marketing, so short term, and that anyway gives you a bit of brand marketing.
Exactly, right? And that's where we kind of mix, right? Because if you have good social media campaigns that have the primary objective to drive traffic, you still get your brand out there and you have good visibility. So I kind of feel that kind of touches on both objectives.
Of course it does.
But it's not efficient.
Right.
Your cost of acquisition on social is, I will not say how much, but it's extremely high compared to what you can get from a good smart search strategy. And one of the challenges that we have now is the SEO bit, because we're in that kind of, we kind of copied everything that we had on the AXA website. But obviously that domain authority is something that we're still building. So and we can speak about that later. But that's a bit the challenges that we have. Yeah, I know it's your favorite topic.
Yeah. You removed the AXA words from the older website?
No, of course not.
Okay.
I mean, in the front, yes, not in the back, obviously. But I mean, there's a lot of work that needs to be done on building or kind of regaining that domain authority, which
but there's no way around it. You remove it from the back, it's you remove it from the front, it's gone, right? And anyway, you're gonna lose the AXA keywords with time because you don't have them anymore. So you still keep of course, you're getting the benefit of the backlinks.
Yeah. But less, right? Because you have the whole new backlink strategy that you need to build because it was going to your old website. You cannot.
Okay. Which direct marketing channel is giving you the highest ROI?
Yeah. So we have a few years ago we started to really push on getting our email automation on track. At this stage, this is by far our most performing and obviously cheapest acquisition channel. So we focus obviously on our existing customers for cross-selling. So whatever they don't have, lost customers. So we have a database that goes 3 to 4 years back. So we continue to kind of leverage all of the data that we have. We have lost opportunities. So everyone that has ever quoted with us, we have, or at least got a quote from us, we have their data, even if they didn't convert. So we are investing a lot on not investing because it's relatively low cost, but pushing a lot on direct marketing and direct emailers. We recently started with WhatsApp as well. Currently, we use it for servicing. But with time, it's also something that we could look at for acquisition or cross-selling. Because in all of the markets, this is kind
acquisition or reselling?
Cross-selling.
Okay, cross-selling.
Right, yeah.
Okay, and activating maybe some of the old users.
Exactly, all the data that we have.
But not buying databases.
No, I don't. Okay. We don't do that. Okay, that's messy. We did a lot of SMS as well, but it's not. It just doesn't have the same click-through because it's used differently, right? You really have to look at how are consumers expecting to use your brand and buy your product.
Do you invest in influencer and celebrity marketing?
Would you recommend me to invest in influencer marketing?
Do you want me to
I want you to answer? Yeah, we're having a conversation.
In celebrity marketing, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Do you
celebrity endorsement?
Do you think that the cost and the investment is...
Maybe there are tons of ways around it, right?
Okay.
There are tons of ways around it. But imagine a celebrity. Why do all these big brands use celebrities?
Well, again, I think if you have really deep pockets, it's absolutely something that can be part of your mix. But I mean, the cost, if you want someone with, strong reach.
Building trust, right?
Yeah.
Because when someone endorses you, like if one of the celebrities, whatever it could be a sheikh, it could be an actor, it could be like a top fashion influencer that could do an ad with you, or they could do a endorsement, and then that is one way of doing it versus putting a billboard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So that, and you put some money behind it.
Yeah.
It's a bigger endorsement than putting a billboard saying, "Hey, we're here. Hey, we're good."
Yeah.
So yes, of course, I would say yes.
Okay.
Influencer marketing, I don't know. Because these small influencers, what are you going to do? Like a barter agreement, you're going to give them a free insurance, life insurance?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe. I don't know. I didn't think about it. Can research it.
We tried a little bit of that. So we had a few micro-influencers, as you say. So we tried to choose people that would fit with the message that we would want to get across. So we've done a few tests. It doesn't give you direct return, but it does give you positive momentum and positive buzz. And where it helps well is if you can find the right influencers in markets like Oman, Bahrain, and Qatar, this is really where you can make the difference, because as I said, the media mix there and consumption of media is very different. Also, out of home is extremely expensive in some of these markets. So this is where you really need to look for all other ways. And the way in these countries social media is consumed and the way trust is built is quite powerful. So I do agree with you that with the right people, the choice of the right people, it can really have an impact. So it's definitely something that we're looking at.
Yeah, good. And definitely as well, like there's affiliate marketing. So now this market is very small, and there's not a lot of people that do. There are not a lot of YouTubers that sell products online and talk about products online. But in the States, it could be like you're just doing an affiliate marketing campaign with these guys. They just maybe comparing policies between GIG and other companies, and then they give, let's say, a promo code to their audiences at the end, right? So that is as well a way. Yeah. How important is PR for such a business, or for a business in general?
So PR, first of all, it really depends from one market to another, because of, again, how media are consumed. So in this market, I think it's critical, but it's very difficult to get traction. So as I said before, you need to find that angle that makes whatever you want to speak about sufficiently interesting. Otherwise, it's a bit plain. You cannot just talk about motor insurance. What do you have to say about it? You know, how do you find these angles? And this is a little bit the challenge, but every time you do find them, you do get good traction. So it's something that we focus on. I think we try to have at least one PR per month. We have a big one coming up. We're actually working together with UA Pass, and we have integrated UA Pass into one of our funnels, which will actually make the purchase journey for a motor policy even less painful, because you will not have to, you don't have to put in many data. You just connect on your UA Pass. All of the data is retrieved from UA Pass, and as you know, they have driving license, they have Emirates ID, and so on. So you'll get a quote in, I don't know, 30 seconds, right? So
awesome.
We're the first ones that are.
I was going to ask you.
Exactly, we're the first ones that have partnered with them. We're going live on the 15th.
Nice.
And typically these are the days or the moments where you have something to speak about, and that's an amazing opportunity to sure. leverage and to really create some good content.
Good on you. The media is going to be happy to pick it up.
Exactly, finally something to speak about, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Good. How to grow a customer lifetime value?
First of all, a new customer is not necessarily profitable in year one. So our big challenge is to retain our customers. And obviously we have the kind of products where retention makes sense, but that's the big challenge. So how do we focus on retaining our good customers? A lot of content and communication with them. So as I was saying, we invested a lot in that email or marketing, and just kind of bringing relevant content at the right time, not spamming, but just kind of having sufficient touch points, because as you know, insurance is intangible. And if you don't have a claim, you actually don't know why you paid. So at least having an insurer that engages with you and gives you good reasons to stay with him, this is really helping. Second is making sure that when it's time to renew and stay with us, that journey is as smooth and painless as possible. If possible, automated, and that's, for example, what we have on home insurance. Home insurance, you don't have to renew, it's auto-renewal. The challenges come on for example, motor insurance, health insurance, travel, and so on. So here we invest a lot on building journeys that are super seamless, super frictionless and fast. And this is kind of how we get that good experience going. And then, of course, the third part is making sure that when customers have an actual experience, it is as painless as possible as well. And then finally, well, I was speaking about it, cross-selling. So obviously your customers that have multiple products are more likely to stay with you. So creating that kind of multi attention with your customers. This is how you get to that customer lifetime value.
Right. So, in general, for a business to increase the customer lifetime value, as per what what I understood from you, is offer a good service, offer a
Make it
upsell.
easy to stay with you.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry.
Right. So yeah, it makes sense. So offer a good service, add value along the way, cross-sell.
Yeah.
And then there's the other part where, like, there's always competition trying to get this customer.
Yeah.
So how do you make sure that they stay?
Well, all these factors, right? But again, the better we are able to,
Like for renewal, I'm saying, because I
Yeah.
just renewed my car,
yeah,
and between two companies, one of them didn't follow up with me. Actually, I don't know how insurance market knew that, because I didn't do it with them.
I will tell you how they know.
So they knew,
Because-
and they had an amazing follow-up.
Of course.
And I was with another company,
Yeah.
and
of
I
course.
bought it from them because
So
they followed up
knew
right.
because someday in your life you must have quoted
Yeah.
on
You're
insurance
right.
market.
Actually, I bought from them in the past. Yeah.
Even if you didn't buy,
Yeah.
they have you because
you're right.
you 1 year ago. So what we're building is also, I mean, we have this in place. We kind of start around 60 days before, and now we have like 45 days before, 30 days before, and what we're trying to do now with our sales teams is kind of find that good mix between the online and the offline. So when we see that our customers have, for example, opened but not yet converted, there's a trigger in our CRM. They're contacted by the call center. If we're seeing that after the second emailer, they're converting, well, they're not contacted anymore. So it's really kind of building that that integrated understanding of what the customer, how the customer has been engaging when you tried to get a renewal. We're also working on now building, working with our data team to build a probability model of churn. So trying to understand which customers are more likely to leave us, and then building dedicated strategies to kind of retain them at the right time. Also understanding in that 60-day process, what is the most successful moment? So at which time of that, in that journey, do we see the most conversions? So this is also the kind of data analytics that we're looking at to gradually kind of improve that journey and that conversion.
Makes sense. Automation.
And
you know what I think?
And data analytics, really tracking your data and learning from it and improving.
Makes sense. You know what I was thinking the other day? Like, what insurance market could have done maybe better or more is to retarget me on, because they have my email address, they have my content, my contact. They could have retargeted me on, let's say, the social media channels with like an amazing message, like, hey, remember we have, or what, like something like, hey, we have 20 or 100,000 positive or 5-star reviews, or the best price guaranteed, or whatever like this, something like that, instead of only the email that I got and the call. Because what if I don't pick up? Because most people don't pick up phones anymore, and most people don't check the emails anymore, right? Like, or these emails go to junk or to the news. So maybe that's something, I don't know.
I can put you in contact with the head of marketing there.
Yeah.
So you can ask them why they're not doing that. But I agree, it's definitely...
with them, I thought with GIG.
Insurance market.
Okay.
Insurance market.
Good. I have way more questions for you, but we're running out of time. So one thing to leave the listeners with.
So the reason why I'm not just managing the brand, but I'm also managing customer experience is because when you say something, you have to actually make it happen. And it doesn't make any sense to invest on your brand, on messages, on marketing concepts if you're not delivering. At the end of the day, this is always where you will get the best return on investment, which is being consistent with what you say and what you're actually delivering.
Right. It's funny that I saw today a post that says the best marketing advice is to take care of your employees. I was like,
so
I was like, and that made me think, now that you said, like, and if I rephrase yours, the best marketing advice is to like take care of your customers. Like don't lie.
Exactly.
Right?
Completely.
And it makes sense. So
Yeah.
I was thinking about it today. Like, what's the best marketing advice to take care of your employees?
Well, so I think at the beginning we spoke about it. Engaged employees deliver better customer service, right? So if you take it then to the next level, practice what you preach or make sure that you deliver on your promise. But you can only do that if your people inside the organization are willing to do that, right? So that kind of brings you back to make a shortcut or to make it really long. This is where you need to get
100%.
engaged employees.
Awesome. Hopefully we'll do it again.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming.
My pleasure.
Awesome.